Welcome back, everyone. Today we are doing episode 7 of Eskimo Brothers Reviews. We are doing the film The Mist from 2007. I am Soyboy Beta Cuck 69, and over here is Shadowman 0050.
Sup?
So, first we'll talk a little bit about the film. So it was based on a Stephen King novella. I have not read the novel. I assume Shadowman has not either.
I actually haven't read any Stephen King.
Oh, damn. He's really missing out. Well, I got a few that you might enjoy.
Okay.
So it's called The Mist. So that's pretty much what it's about. It takes place in a typical Stephen King fashion. It's a very small town in the Northeast, most likely Maine. Let's see, it's a horror and a thriller type film, which he's pretty much known for. Basically you follow a group of people that are stuck inside of a grocery store. So you follow them into the store, and then eventually there's some sort of mist coming, and there's some sort of creatures or aliens, or you can figure that out yourself. Something in the mist that's harming people, killing people, destroying things. And of course there's a military base nearby, so a lot of people believe that comes from that, or they mutated something or something along those lines. So that plays a pretty important part there.
They done goofed.
But yeah, so pretty much you follow this small group of people throughout, a couple, I'd say like 48, 72 hour period.
Yeah.
Pretty much. So I will say, in the beginning, I really enjoyed, there's a few scenes, like the first scene in general, and then the first scene in the grocery store, where the type of camera work that is used is very different. It's pretty much like right there in your face. You're around all these characters, you move around the store with them, you have all these different angles, so it's really different from like a standard shot like we have here, where it's just a camera set up and then people acting in front. Like it gets up close and personal, and it feels like you actually belong in that scene with these people. So I think they did that so you could grow with these people and feel the same emotions they have, and you feel like you're part of the group that's involved in this. But that's the first thing I noticed. However, it kind of stops after the first 10 minutes or 15 minutes. So that was pretty disappointing. But overall, I will say that even taking that out, it was a pretty decent film, I believe. I don't know what your thoughts were.
I enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't like a terrible movie.
It seemed like it could have maybe used a little editing. It didn't have to be as long as it was.
Yeah.
But it's not too egregious of a, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, it could
It's
definitely
good.
be better with that. I agree. I think it was 2 hours and 5 minutes is the total time for this film. So yeah, it did kind of run along a little bit. And there were scenes that definitely could have been taken out, but yeah, it is what it is. It turned out okay. It's not a very action-packed film. It's mostly dialogue-driven. Primarily, it's only in one set location inside of that grocery store. So if you like a lot of action or a lot of comedy or something like that, this might not be for you.
Though it does have some, it has some comedy too.
Yeah, there are some.
There are a couple of things thrown in that are like, that's for a laugh. There's no other reason to put that in there.
Yeah, it was
Somebody hits his head.
Yeah, some nice one-liners, and just some like weird, strange physical comedy a couple different times where, with characters. So yeah, that was nice to throw in there a little bit. I mean, it's not like a super serious, intense, emotional movie. But it's probably your standard horror / thriller.
It has a sense of humor about itself.
Yes, yes, I agree with that. Um, so yeah, I talked about how there's these creatures that are in this mist, and you can't. I mean, you can't they don't really show. Like you'll show something in the shadows, or you'll see like bits and pieces here, but you don't really see like a whole lot of creatures. And there's different ones. There's weird like arthropod ones, so they're like squid or octopus type things. There's insects. There's let's see here, strange flying pterodactyl looking animals. And yeah, like little by little, you start to figure out like, oh, maybe this was caused by this military base. Yeah, there's something strange is going on in this little town.
It reminded me of like Alien with the xenomorph, how it has different forms. All the different, you got the facehuggers and
Okay.
the xenomorph and the thing that pops out of the chest.
Oh.
Just
okay.
the kind of different forms. That's what came to my mind. Once I saw because you see the octopus thing first, then the insects. I was like, okay.
Oh, yeah, different styles.
I was sitting there like trying to think, is this the same creature just in larva form, or are these different things? I don't know.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
They never really explored that. I assume not. It's supposed to be different creatures because there's like spider things too.
I guess for a horror film, the scariest part of this is the people, and just how there's humankind and how people react, and I'll get into that a little more. So this kind of shows how people react to fear and like uncertain situations, because so they go into this grocery store and then they see this mist coming in, and they decide, well, we're going to stay in here because some guy says there's stuff in the mist, so we're going to just save ourselves. And then through that, it's kind of like many apocalyptic type movies where you have like certain like groups of people, and you can see how who comes to lead the groups. You see how different people react in different situations. Like people may turn to religion, they might just turn to denial and say, this isn't fake, I don't have any evidence. They might be violent or hysterical. You never know, and there's all these different types of people inside this store, and each one's a little different. So I thought that was pretty interesting too.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. There is a main character in there who lives in a small town. She's a very religious woman, and towards the end of the first night that they're staying in this grocery store, you have some sort of like insect creatures, and then she starts reciting from the book of Revelations. And I found that to be strange because she said something little, before that, and then she continues to say things after that, saying how this is the apocalypse, and this is God's will and God's wrath for the way these people were reacting, or the way these people lived their lives. I did see. I thought about that because so she was reciting that book of Revelations, and just to account for like what she sees. And that it shows how people can have like a certain mindset or a certain way of thinking, and then they see that in every like aspect of their life. So I thought that was pretty true for people. Like you can have like a certain way of things. Like maybe I could say that everyone's against me, and I'm all by myself, and then I go to one place, and then something happens. I'm like, see, like I said, the world is against me. I go to another place, something small happens. I'm like, exactly, everything's against me. Everything's bad. But I thought that was really interesting because I do know some people that have that certain type of mindset where they keep searching and searching and searching for something, and then because they search so much, they find it everywhere.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a pretty interesting thing in terms of, showing how people can be and how real people are.
They look for things that connect to their own already made conclusion.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. I think the last thing I'll discuss is my favorite part, in which I wanted to show him, was just the end scene. Now, like, the scene in general isn't, amazing, but you have to, everything leading up to that scene, it's kind of a surprise. You don't really know what's going to happen, and then you know exactly what's going to happen, and then something switches up at the end again, so it's all weird, and I think they did it really well. It was a serious and emotional and intense scene, and I liked how it was, there was no background music, there was no score, there was nothing. It was just very silent and just, quiet dialogue and just human understanding of, this is what's happening, this is what's going to happen next. And I thought that was it was a very good way to end the film, I thought.
Yeah, that was a very good ending. I don't know, either that part was my favorite or when you first see the insects. Because that was just so weird and like...
Yeah, because you originally see, parts of some sort of creature with tentacles. And,
so I figured, that's what this is. This is Tremors.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is weird.
So when I saw another creature, I was like, oh.
And the second time, when you see these insects, everything is much clearer, and you can actually physically see them. They're not hiding in the mist. They're right there in front of you. So that was a good change of pace too, to actually see what everyone was supposed to be afraid of.
I think mostly what I got here is just sort of nitpicks, but it's just stuff that happens in a lot of horror movies. I'll start at the very beginning. And the tree falls onto the house. It shows it from the inside. This branch just goes perfectly right into the window.
Oh. Yeah.
From the tree falling. I don't understand how that works. Yeah. That was the very first thing I noticed.
Yeah, that's not how physics works.
I thought it was weird that he knew all the people in the grocery store by their first name.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he talked to the cashier girl, and then, like, the manager. It's like... Yeah. I mean, it's not unheard of, but usually that's, like, old people that know.
Yeah.
Pick everyone's name and,
Yeah.
regular visitors.
Yeah, it might have been just because, to show that he's, he lives in that small town, and he's, and there a lot of other people there were coming from out of state. They kind of do there for, like, vacation or something, to be on the East Coast. But yeah, that's true. He did know pretty much every single person, and that was strange.
Some of the CGI shots were kind of bad.
Yeah.
Not all of them. I'm sure at the time it looked good, but I mean, CGI in itself just dates very quickly, so...
Yeah, for 2007 it wasn't terrible.
Yeah, I'm sure it was fine at the time, but looking at it now, it's like, oh, I can see that was computer generated.
Oh yeah.
Even some things that didn't need to be, like the mist itself. Just the way it kind of moved sometimes, I was like...
Yeah. Because you could tell, like, some shots were, like, legitimate, like a fog machine or something like that. But, yeah, and it was, like, super dense and, but other times it, like, moved really quickly and in weird ways.
Yeah.
But,
I thought it was weird when they're in the store and they open the door. The mist doesn't come in.
Yeah.
Like, it just kind of stays still on that line.
Must have been a phantom. I think it was a ghost in the mist.
The camera's haunted. Yeah. Also, when they start to try to explain, what they saw. Now, and people don't believe them. Now, there's already supernatural shit going on. So why would they not believe that something else supernatural's going on?
Exactly.
Like the whole fog, the mist thing is already, that's weird.
Yeah.
Like,
it doesn't make sense. Just comes out of nowhere, super fast, no one understands. Someone says that there's something in it, and they're like,
No, I don't believe you.
I don't know. Oh, you're all bloody and you saw someone get taken. I'm not gonna believe you quite yet.
I really liked they made a Jim Jones reference in
Yes.
reference to the religious lady.
Yes, that is true.
Because Jim Jones is the best boxer of all time.
Oh, damn it.
He knocked out over 900 people with one punch. The last major thing I have is that the movie actually reminds me of the old 1968 Night of the Living Dead, where most of it takes place in the one location. And you probably never seen that.
Night of the Living Dead, possibly.
Well, it's black and white.
Oh, then I haven't seen it.
So that takes place in one house for the most part, except for like the beginning and the end. But the zombies are there, but the main conflict is the people in the house. So that was
okay.
That was very much, if I would equate it to another film, that's what came to mind.
Yeah, like this, like really showed how like real people react in like crazy situations like that. Like you have some people are really super calm and relaxed and positive. Other people are like, hey, this is the end of the world. Like something needs to happen right now. And there's everyone in between, and just how people can be so different. Some people can just resort to violence or like cult-like behavior, and other people, just try to take leadership. And so it just, I can only imagine like in real situations, like how this is, and how similar it is.
How quickly people will turn on each other.
Oh yeah, humans, we're fucked up.
Alright, I think that's probably about it. Good movie.
Yeah, I'd say I give it a 4 out of 5 stars or something like that, or however we're rating. I don't think we rate them, but that's what I would say, at least for this one.
I'd give it 3.5 insect creatures out of 5.
That's fair. So
do you have our next movie?
I do have a next movie. So episode 8 will be the film Jojo Rabbit, which you can probably catch on HBO.
This better not be an anime, I swear to God.
Oh man, Shadowman loves his animes. Yeah, down below in your comments, just go ahead and throw some anime, because Shadowman is a big fan. So
Alright, this is done.
Alright, thanks a lot guys, I'll see you next time. He might not.